Call this meeting to order. If you'd all rise. Ask Commissioner McDaniel to lead us in prayer.
Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we love Thee, and we pray that Thy Spirit will be with us throughout this meeting and afterwards, and we will reach home in peace and safety. We pray that we will all go forth and do great things and for our county and in our area. We're thankful for the privilege of being Americans and live in this country. We pray for America and for our military and first responders. We pray for Israel and all innocent people everywhere. Father, we love Thee and we need Thee. We're thankful for the blessings that we have. Thankful again that we live in this country and we have the freedoms that we do. Please bless us with blessings that we're in need of, and this we do in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. It looks like we are going to start with a presentation. The Community Emergency Response Team, also known as CERT Graduation and Acknowledgement. Stuart Logan.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, what we'd like to do today is recognize the last CERT class that we put people through and graduate them today. In honor of the people that have graduated, we have a plaque with their names listed on it that will also hang with the other CERT classes, as well as certificates and badges. So the CERT team, the Community Emergency Response Team classes, consists of several different topics where people could respond in case of an emergency. Things like first aid, CPR. The fun class that everybody likes is the bomb class, where we bring in Farmington Bomb Squad. We talk about bombs, and we go out to Safety City and blow things up. They like that one. Everybody wants to push the button. Kind of makes me wonder about some of the people in CERT classes. But they have fun with that one. We also had an FBI agent come in and talk about terrorism, as well as other topics. So we put them through the classes, get them trained up, so if there was a mass incident of some kind, they could help with the county first responders to take care of people at that time. So it takes about 6 months to go through the class. And so today we'd like to graduate and honor the people that went through the class. And if you want to present them with their certificates along with Don, and we can call off their names.
I'll let you call them off, and then we'll come down and do a picture when everybody's up here.
Okay.
You don't get to run and hide. Stay up here when you get called up.
First one up is Jay Allen with Parks and Facilities. Next up would be Michelle Murray. Next up would be Vicki Edwards. And then we have Tina Maudsley in finance. Then we have two former employees of the county. One retired, the other has moved on, but they spent their time to come in today, and that is Michael Trujillo. And while he's coming up, I will also recognize Darlene Womble.
Thought Michael was headed out the door.
Brought him back in. So these are the 6 that went through the class and graduated. We appreciate them, and we want to award them their certificates and badges and this plaque in honor of them.
Well, congratulations. We'll come down and we'll do a photo if you guys don't mind. I might have Michelle tell us the most important thing she learned in the. No, I won't do that.
He's the chairman.
Nice look. Well, that was a evil look.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we'll get you.
All right.
Here, come over and guide us, Hollywood.
Front center, Vicki.
Now Vicky's up for 8.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get back there.
Yeah.
All right, big smile right here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Gotcha. I think Steve Lanier would be a good candidate for your next class. Okay. All right, that brings us to the Canvas board. Do I just need to call the Canvas board to order?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to go into the canvas board.
I'll second. Having been moved and seconded, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We find ourselves in the Canvas board. Do I turn it over to our clerk, Tanya Shelby?
Chairman, members of the commission, as you are aware, we conducted the 2024 primary election last Tuesday on June 4th. Okay. 10,966 voters voted. 3,962 voted early, 979 voted absentee, and 6,025 voted on election day. The total eligible voters that could have voted were 56,023. So we only had a 19.6% turnout. We had 241 same-day registrations throughout the whole time, throughout early voting and election day. 77 of those were Democrat, 159 were Republican, and 5 were Libertarian. We did not have any provisional ballots for this election. Turnout obviously was slow by the numbers that I've given you. It did pick up towards the end of early voting, but not enough to catch up to past elections. So in 2020, we all remember our pandemic that we were under, right? We had 20,728 voters vote in our primary election during a pandemic. So we've seen a drastic decrease. In 22, the numbers decreased to 13,298. And then now to the 10,996. So a special thank you to our staff, all of the poll workers in the county, and all of the county staff that continues to assist us during elections. We could not do it without pretty much every department's assistance. I also would like to thank our local postmaster. Lacine, she actually went to Cuba this time to pick up ballots that would not have been delivered to our office until the following day. And she coordinates with all the reservation post offices too, so that we can pick those ballots up in Farmington. She's amazing. So kudos to her. But that's all I have. If you have any questions.
Does anybody have any questions?
Just a comment. I know as county clerk, you've always wanted to have a high number of turnout, but who knows why some don't vote. And but it's so important and I'm glad that those that do go out, if they really value the power of the vote. But thank you for all that you do in trying to educate individuals, all the signs that you put up. So your staff, I commend them. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Totticini.
Always top notch. Any other questions, statements? All right. Is there anything else we need to do in regards to that or just sign the?
I think that's
The-
it. Let's.
Just like,
Okay.
okay. Then I'll make a motion to go out of the canvas board.
I'll second.
Having been moved and seconded, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, it passes unanimously. Brings us to approval of the agenda. I'll stand for a motion or if there are any changes to the.
Mr. Chairman, there are no changes tonight. The agenda is as presented.
I
Okay.
move that we approve the agenda as is.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any, it passes unanimously. Brings us to our consent agenda. I will read the consent agenda. Number one, consideration of regular meeting minutes for May 21st, 2024. Number two, consideration of treasurer check register for May 2024. Number three, consideration of finance check registers for May 2024. Number four, consideration of fiscal year 2024 budget adjustment number 15, resolution number 23-24-68. Number five, consideration of resolution number 23-24-59 for the write-off of certain accounts receivables. Number six, renewal of bid number 21-22-16 price agreement for the purchase of warehouse supplies. Number seven, consideration for renewal of bid number 21-22-20, cooperative price agreement for fuel, card lock facilities and bulk fuel purchases to Flyers Energy of Auburn, California and Synergy Petroleum of Phoenix, Arizona. Number eight, consideration of DWI grant agreement 25-D-G-24 with DFA and LGD for operation of the local DWI program. Number nine, consideration of the Second Amendment to the HCAP contract with Presbyterian Medical Services. Number 10, consideration of resolution number 23-24-66 granting authority to the county manager to contract with other New Mexico counties for housing of juvenile detainees. Number 11, consideration for the renewal of bid 20-21-14 price agreement for the production of type 2 base course with C&J Gravel Products Incorporated of Durango, Colorado. I'll stand for a motion regarding the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Having been moved and seconded, those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any, it passes unanimously. Brings us to the new business agenda number one. Consideration of notice of intent to adopt San Juan County ordinance number 125. An ordinance repealing ordinance number 101, which authorized the execution of an intergovernmental agreement and a project participation agreement to accept as fiscal agent a grant up to $2,350,000 from the New Mexico Economic Development Department for procurement of expansion to the PESCO facility located in San Juan County. Say that fast 5 times. Joe Sawyer.
Thank you. You'll get another chance in a second for the second ordinance, but thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 2019, the commission adopted ordinance number 101, which made the county the fiscal agent for a $2,350,000 grant from the State Economic Development Department for an expansion to the PESCO facility. The project has successfully achieved its objectives and is ready to be closed out. State regulation, new NMAC 2.93.1.9E requires us to repeal LEDA ordinances once projects are finished. So we would ask that the commission approve this notice of an intent to adopt ordinance number 125, which would repeal 101.
Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, Linda Rogers, CFO with Pesco, was going to try to be here tonight, but couldn't make it due to another meeting at the city of Farmington, but she'll try to make the meeting when this is considered for final adoption July 2nd. But you did want to note that in terms of return on investment related to the funding that was received from the state, 216 jobs when the funding was initially received. And then, of course, the build out of additional facilities, and Pesco's headcount today is at 418. So I think a noble return on investment relative to the state fund. So I just thought I'd note that because she had provided that information to me earlier today.
So it was successful.
Very successful.
And
200
all the
jobs.
accounting is done. We're all squared away, ready to close out.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, yes, and we have received a closeout letter from the New Mexico Economic Development Department indicating such.
Well, perfect. I'll stand for a motion.
I'll move that we adopt the San Juan County Ordinance 125 and ordinance repealing ordinance 101.
And this just the notice of intent to publish, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, is there any further discussion? Not hearing any. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Brings us to item number 2. Consideration of notice of intent to adopt San Juan County Ordinance number 16 and ordinance repealing ordinance number 86, which authorizes the execution of an intergovernmental agreement and project participation agreement to accept as fiscal agent a grant of $200,000 from the New Mexico Economic Development Department for procurement of architectural design services for a warehouse expansion to the Raytheon Dene facility located at the Navajo Nation's Industrial Park in San Juan County, New Mexico. Joe Sawyer.
Thank you. And this would actually be consideration of notice of intent to adopt San Juan County Ordinance number 126. There may have been a typo in what you received.
I was wondering why it was a lower ordinance number than 86, but.
Right. So in 2014, the commission adopted ordinance number 86, which made the county the fiscal agent for a $200,000 grant from the State Economic Development Department for architectural design services for warehouse expansion to the Raytheon Dene facility. The project was completed in 2018, and the county's duties as fiscal agent have ended. State regulation requires us to repeal LEDA ordinances once projects are finished. So staff asks you to please approve publication of notice of intent to adopt ordinance number 126, which would repeal ordinance 86. Thank you.
Stand for any questions? Not hearing any. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move for approval of publication of notice of intent to adopt ordinance number 126.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Having been moved and seconded, is there any further discussion? Not hearing any. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any. It passed unanimously. Brings us to item number 3, consideration of resolution number 23-24-65, approving a rate increase for guaranteed and non-guaranteed bed space at the Juvenile Services Center. Bowen Belt. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, good afternoon. San Juan County Juvenile Services is one of only 4 facilities in the state. And obviously this has created a high demand and need for space for juvenile detainees. Over the last 4 years, San Juan County has entered into contracts with various New Mexico counties to provide that space. And the county is currently contracted with 22 counties at rates of $225, $275 for non-guaranteed bed space and $225 for guaranteed bed space. Counties with guaranteed bed space pay a lower rate because they pay monthly, whether they have any detainees in the facility or not. And counties with guaranteed bed space are able to ensure they have bed space available when needed. And in turn, this allows the facility to better manage and forecast available space for detainees. We would like to standardize the rates charged to all counties and include an increase which is enough to help offset the operation costs of the facility. Juvenile Services recommends a daily rate of $475 for each non-guaranteed bed day, with a 5% increase each year, and a daily rate of $350 for each guaranteed bed, with also a 5% increase annually. The rates are based on fiscal year 24 juvenile services budget divided by the total occupancy days. So the facility is staffed with 25 beds multiplied by 365 days for a total of 9,125 occupancy days. The FY24 budget of 4,133,908 divided by 9,125 equals 453. And then add 5% increase for a per diem total of $475. Contracted bed space has accounted for approximately 50% of juveniles held in the facility over the past 4 years. Over the past 4 years, the Juvenile Services Center budget has increased by 46% as a result of raising costs and inflationary increases. Just for example, in fiscal year 2023, Juvenile Services generated $1,175,525.63 of revenue for contracted bed space. At the requested rate increase, that revenue generated would have been $2,126,531.25 for the contracted bed space.
Have you talked with any of the counties that this would affect, and what kind of response have you had, if you know?
So I have not talked with counties in terms of county management. I have spoken with 3 other facilities, 3 other counties that operate facilities. They are also in the process of increasing rates. Not necessarily at our rate, because everybody's budget, the formula is different. But definitely rates are going to be increasing statewide for bed space.
You think the increases are going to scare anybody away?
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think initially there could be a little bit of shock. However, I think once people take the time and consider, the alternative, which there really isn't an alternative. Plus, it's still a significant cost savings as opposed to running your own facility. I think that they will conclude with, they'll accept that rate and consider it money well spent.
Any other questions?
No, Mr. Chairman, that would be my comment, is they're getting a pretty good deal. I mean, I know we look at the numbers at 475, but they don't have to have a building. They don't have to maintain it. They don't have to have officers in there. So, I can see where they're getting a pretty good deal, even though it's an increase. I can see them squawk for a little bit, but.
Well, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Lemire, I'll add, I had said that out of county detainees account for approximately 50% of the bed space. So, 50% of our resources are going to out of county youth. And we provide a lot of resources, dedicate a lot to all the kids, San Juan County and out of county alike. And I think it's in the county's best interest to try to recover some of that revenue and be compensated, accordingly for what we do provide to the state.
Any other questions?
All right, Mr. Chair, I would move that we pass resolution 23-2465, approving the rate increase.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, is there any further discussion? Not hearing any. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any. It passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner.
Thank you. Brings us to item number 4, which is consideration of resolution number 23-24-67 for a grant application to the New Mexico Finance Authority for an update to San Juan County's comprehensive plan. Mr. Saavedra.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, County Commission. I come before you to seek your permission to submit an application to the New Mexico Finance Authority, specifically a planning grant to update our growth management plan, otherwise known as a comprehensive plan. The last update to this document occurred in 2018. At the time, Architectural Research Associates conducted the work for San Juan County. It is a best practice to have this document updated every 5 years. We're just slightly outside that window. And the reason for that is it looks for patterns in growth, looks for changes in population. It looks for changes within the economy, facilities, infrastructure, and so forth. What this document will contain is an update to all such topics: water, transportation, housing, economic development, and growth in the county. What San Juan County plans to do is submit a grant to NMFA. That grant program allocates funds according to the median household income for the county. San Juan County still is a rich county in a poor state, and unfortunately, allocations of such are limited. However, within a comprehensive plan that includes a chapter on economic development, specifically LEDA, we have the ability to get the maximum amount of $50,000, and that's what we would be seeking to apply for. So with that, assuming we're successful in the grant application. So with that, I will stand for any questions within this request.
Any questions? I'll stand for a motion.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve the consideration of resolution number 23-24-67 for grant application to New Mexico Finance Authority.
I'll second. Oh, sorry.
Oh, to update our San Juan County's comprehensive plan.
Now I'll second.
Having been moved and seconded, is there any further discussion? Not hearing any. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any. It passes unanimously. Thank you. Brings us to item number 5, consideration of the updated indigent burial cremation policy. Ellen Wynn, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. The San Juan County Board of County Commissioners previously has established a burial cremation fund and accompanying policy according to state statute, which serves qualifying unclaimed decedents who were residents of San Juan County. Previously, earlier this year, an RFP was put out and the commission awarded a contract to Farmington Funeral Home, which is set to begin on July 1st to provide those services for the county. In preparation of the contract, we realized that the current policy was due for some updates to make the process more smooth between the county and the contracted funeral home, and as well as to make it easier for the funeral home when communicating with families as far as what the requirements are, what the eligibility is, what's required of them and how to interact with the county. The function of our current program will remain substantially the same, even with these updates. The reimbursement will not change. This state statute was updated in 2023, and the fee was adjusted by the commission just previously this year, but we didn't make many other changes to the policy at that time. So this draft is really just more user-friendly and more fully fleshes out the eligibility criteria, the process for applying for indigent status, and the process and requirements for families to claim their remains after cremation if they choose to do so. One notable change is that in the 2023 statute amendments, the law was changed that now counties are only granted the authority to authorize cremations for unclaimed decedents. Therefore, we've updated the policy to add a requirement that if a family is applying for indigent status assistance, that the next of kin must opt to not claim the body and turn custody of that body over to the county so that we have statutory authority to authorize the cremation. I stand for any questions, and Megan Cullip is also present if you have any questions more specifically about the program.
Any questions? Not hearing any, I'll stand for a motion.
I'll move that we update the indigent burial cremation policy.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, is there any further discussion? Not hearing any, those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brings us to item number 6, which is ratification of the Four Corners Freight Rail Project Chrissy grant application. Mr. Stark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. As you might recall at the last meeting, I provided you an update that we were working closely with our consultant on the freight rail project, HDR, as well as the Navajo Nation and the state of New Mexico to apply for a Chrissy grant, which stands for a Consolidated Rail Infrastructure and Safety Improvement Grant, federal grant that's made available to local governments and other entities. And it would allow for us to continue the furtherance of the freight rail project, specifically preliminary engineering up to 30% drawings, as well as an evaluation, NEPA evaluation of all the prospective routes that have been delineated today through the feasibility study. Given the grant deadline was May 28th, and at the last meeting, I didn't have a completed grant application to share with you. We were working on putting the final touches on it, as well as gathering the letters of support from the Navajo Nation and the state of New Mexico DOT. I have that today and wanted to make sure you had the opportunity to review it and more importantly, ratify that application that has been sent forth. The total ask for the grant was $5 million, $4 million on federal funding we'd be seeking, $1 million. That's a 20% grant requirement that we would have to come forth with. Now, I say we, specifically in the New Mexico DOT letter that you have before you. I appreciate Secretary Cerner. He was actively engaged in trying to get us a letter the day before this grant was due. And ultimately said that the NMDOT will work with the county to obtain all local match requirements for this grant. So really appreciate his support of this project and to want to see it continue forward. So with that, I would stand for any questions you might have and ultimate ratification of the grant agreement we submitted on May 28th.
Any questions?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Stark, did Navajo Nation give you a letter of support for this or?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Totticini, they did.
Okay.
President Nygren provided us with a letter of support, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
And that's included in your packet as well. And that was submitted with the grant application.
Thank you.
So everything went smooth, application submitted, it met all the deadlines?
We did meet all the deadlines. Ms. Martin and I worked on getting that submitted. Where's she at? She's not in here, but it was quite a process. it 5 hours prior to the grant, being due at midnight. So, but we got it done. It's in there and we received confirmation that the grant was successfully delivered, to DC.
Perfect. Any other questions? I'll stand for a motion.
Mr. Chair, motion for the ratification of Four Corners, approval of ratification of Four Corners Freight Rail Project, CRISI grant application.
I'll second it.
Having been moved and seconded, is there any further discussion? Not hearing any of those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any, I'll presume that it passed unanimously. Brings us to item number 7, which is consideration of a proclamation recognizing the 100th anniversary of the Indian Citizenship Act, presented by Commissioner Totticini and Commissioner McDaniel.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd like to say some things in tandem with Commissioner Totticini here in regards to our appreciation for our Native American friends in the area, the county, and the Southwest. And we have a proclamation together. As you may know, Commissioner Totticini and I have 18 chapter houses between us that we represent, and among other duties that we have. And as the proclamation goes, whereas San Juan County and their surrounding areas are the ancestral and contemporary home of the Navajo, Southern Ute, Mountain Ute, and Jicarilla Apache people, and whereas Native Americans constitute approximately 43% of San Juan County's population, and whereas San Juan County's Native American citizens possess a strong historical and cultural legacy that contributes to San Juan County's special heritage, and whereas although Native Americans were the original inhabitants of the lands that now make up the United States of America, in 1924, approximately 125,000 of the estimated population of 300,000 Native Americans were not United States citizens, able to vote or exercise other rights to citizenship. And before if I could, Commissioner, the reason this came about, I had a friend from the Shiprock chapter bring this to my attention. And sometimes we don't realize how much time has gone by. So he brought this to my attention. Sorry, go ahead.
Whereas on June 2nd, 1924, President Calvin Coolidge signed the Indian Citizenship Act, also known as the Snyder Act, which admitted Native Americans born in the United States to full United States citizenship. And whereas the right to vote is essential to providing citizens the ability to fully participate in democracy. Whereas the occasion of the 100-year anniversary of the Indian Citizenship Act is an opportunity to reflect on the importance of voting for all Americans. And now therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of San Juan County, New Mexico, does hereby recognize and celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Indian Citizenship Act of 1924.
Thank you. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure how to phrase it, but I guess I'd like to make a motion that we recognize and solidify and adopt this proclamation recognizing the 100th anniversary of the Indian Citizenship Act.
I'll second that.
Very well. Having been moved and seconded, is there any further discussion? I just want to thank both of our commissioners for recognizing this and bringing it forward. I think it's important to recognize. So thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Any other discussion? Not hearing any. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes unanimously. That brings us to our report from our county manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I just have one update for you tonight. We've got a number of department and elected official reports. So this is the time of year where our work comp policy renews, July 1st. And historically, we've had coverage through New Mexico counties, although we do shop that policy from time to time. And we've done that this year with our broker, and we've received a very favorable quote that we would like to bring to your consideration. In fact, we have to do so before June 17th, which is next end of day on June 17th. And so to be able to accommodate a special meeting so that you all could take consideration of this additional quote we've received and make a decision for our work comp policy effective July 1st. So I just ask if maybe I could put out to you if you have availability to meet on Monday, June 17th, for a one item special commission meeting if possible, so we could bring this matter forth to you for consideration.
Will that be virtual or in person?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Fortner, our Open Meetings Act policy allows for virtual attendance. So yes, you could choose to be in person or appear virtually.
I would propose that we do it at noon, so long as Commissioner Lanier buys lunch for everybody.
Wonder what you'll get.
This is June 17th.
It would be next Monday. So we would have to meet the Open Meetings Act requirement of 72-hour notice, we would have to publish an agenda by end of, well, we would get it out by end of day Thursday. We'd actually have till end of day Friday. We'd have Friday at 4, so, or noon, yeah.
I could do it noon or before,
You could do noon?
or before.
Zoom works for me.
Noon sounds okay.
Sounds good.
Mr. Fortner, is that?
Yeah, I may have to zoom in.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We will make preparations for a special meeting at noon on June 17th. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it?
That is it, Mr. Chair. We have a lot of department reports, so in lieu of hearing me speak, you're going to hear a lot of them come forth with.
Well,
updates.
I'll first open it up to any reports from elected officials.
Mr. Chair, I have one. I'm on San Juan County Museum, and Larry Baker retired, and his staff had a wonderful send off for him this past Saturday. So I know way back in the 70s, we used to hear as Native Americans, "Run, run, here comes the anthros." And so he had a lot of friends who are anthropologists and archaeologists who came and wished him well. And one unique thing was one of his friends gave him I guess he chipped an arrowhead, and he gave that to him as a retirement gift. And his spouse and the children have a bench with a plaque on it, and they're going to have that down at the Salmon Rooms. So we're still going to use him as a consultant, but he has a lot of knowledge, and I guess he'll be keeping busy with maybe he'll write a book. Who knows?
Any other elected officials?
Chairman
Yes.
and members of the commission, I have two more things I'd like to mention to you. One, I'm sure you all paid attention to the results. And so County Commission District 3 race was separated by 12 votes. The state canvassing board will meet on June 25th, and we're anticipating an order for a recount. So they'll set the date for that.
They'll set it on June 25th for the recount.
Yes. So I'll keep you posted on that. And then the other item that I have is Bloomfield Schools has decided to have a special election on August 20th. So So I'll keep you posted on that, but it's a special general obligation bond election. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Very well, thank you. Last call, elected officials. I'll open it up to department heads.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, good afternoon. Devin Neely, Public Relations Manager, and it is my distinct pleasure to announce to you that San Juan County is adding a 14th National Association of Counties Achievement Award to the wall over here, and present my congratulations to San Juan County Fire and Rescue for the Septic Safe campaign, which earned the title, and we just received word of that on Friday. As you know, with your support, the Septic Safe campaign is in its second season, including continued public education, presentations to civic groups, numerous civic groups, might I add, and materials handed out at a variety of venues. As you also know, the state of New Mexico has taken the materials from the Septic Safe campaign, is rolling it out statewide through New Mexico Environment Department and through a partnership with children, youth, and families directly to families who are affected across our state. I want to congratulate Chief David Vega and Division Chief Shay Arnhammer and the rest of the department for all the hard work, which is paying off with recognition and opening up a national venue in which to present this material. And I printed it out for you guys.
You know, this is such an awesome program, and to get this recognition is important, and want to highlight that. I also want to thank Mr. Neely for the enthusiasm in which he brings the subject of septic lids. It's amazing. It really is amazing. But Chiefs, thank you so much for this program and all you do. I know that it's important to the department, and it's awesome that you're getting that recognition. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Commission, I don't know why he ran off, because he really needs to, and I'm actually gonna make him come up.
Come on, Hollywood.
I just want to make sure that you understand that both Devin and Shay, and I really want to acknowledge them both publicly, they deserve really all the credit. They really took a vision that I had and created a campaign. So they deserve the bulk of the thanks and the bulk of the appreciation for this award. They built the awareness campaign. They did a tremendous amount of community outreach. They took the idea that I had and I said, hey, let's make this happen. And these two really took the ball and ran with it. So really want to thank Devin for all of his work, Shay for all of her great work, and thank you both for accomplishing this for our community and for our department. So thank you both. I'm going to stay up here just real quick. I just want to brief the commission on the fire danger where we're at. You may have noticed we haven't had any significant moisture for about the past 3 weeks. We got a little squirt up north last night, but that was barely enough to settle the dust. The 30-day weather outlooks, unfortunately, kind of bleak. They're calling for above normal temperatures and then equal chances for precipitation and equal chances for northwest New Mexico in June are again pretty bleak. So the fire danger rating right now is high. We've hit some trigger points to implement some progressive fire restrictions in the county. As such, we've prohibited open burning on days when atmospheric conditions do allow for open burning. We've prohibited that past noon. So there is no open burning past noon. We'll continue to evaluate the weather over the next 14 days. If we hit another trigger point, we will prohibit open burning altogether. Of course, next week, the 20th, next Thursday, I believe, fireworks sales start in San Juan County. We get a lot of questions from the public this time of year asking why the fire department or the commission has not banned the sale of fireworks. Of course, that is not within our purview or authority to do. So as such, we've been working with McGee Park again. They've been gracious enough to open up their parking lot for the public to go and discharge fireworks off again this year. So we're certainly encouraging the public to take advantage of that big asphalt parking lot that's no vegetation, So we're encouraging the fireworks, or the public to go shoot fireworks off there. We will be implementing fireworks patrols and being proactive with trying to mitigate as much potential starts out there that may create. But this time of year, all the weather factors start to line up, the cotton flying, no precipitation, elevated temperatures, and we start to get a little nervous this time of year. So just wanted to make sure the commission was aware of where we're at. We're monitoring it carefully, and we will be proactive with our restrictions as we determine. I stand for any questions that you may have for me.
Thank you for your update.
I'm going to have Chief Arnhammer come back up, and she's just going to give you a quick update on Camp Fuego, kind of a exciting program that we're doing this week. So, Chief.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. This was our first year doing Camp Fuego. It was an all-girls camp that we decided to put on. We're the first fire department in our area that has put this on, and it's just giving an opportunity to show these young ladies what it's like having women in leadership and why it's important, especially in these male-dominated fields in the first responder world. So yesterday we got an opportunity for first responders that represented each agency surrounding us that came and talked to them about why it's important to have women in leadership. And then also just got a taste of what it's like to be in the fire service. We had them doing bunker drills and inspecting their bunker gear, things like that. Today was all day first aid, CPR certified. So they all passed their test this afternoon. So they're all walking away with the CPR certification. And then tomorrow we'll be at Bloomfield Fire and we'll do some live fire evolutions with fire extinguishers, as well as just a day in the life of a firefighter. And we've invited their families to come eat dinner tomorrow night and have a little ceremony for them. And one conversation that we're going to have tomorrow afternoon is about pride and ownership in the fire service. So they're going to be cleaning up the station and preparing everything for the ceremony and dinner tomorrow as well. Are there any questions?
I have one. So what are the ages and how did they find out about this?
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Fortner, so the answer to your question is we did a lot of advertising through social media, and it's ages 16 to 18 years old. So it's all girls that are trying to figure out what they want to do when they grow up. So hopefully this ignited something inside them, but it was, yeah, through all social media and then flyers in the schools as well.
Okay, I like that you did the CPR certification. It's great.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Make sure those fires are out by noon.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other department heads?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Pleased to share with you a recent award. Annually, we apply for funding through the Recycling and Illegal Dumping Program through New Mexico Environment Department. This year, we applied for $35,000 for the purchase of a tire slicing machine. Found out today we were awarded. That doesn't sound very exciting. What's a tire slicing machine and what does it mean for me? What it does is it allows us to keep tire costs very low at our transfer stations. We charge $2 per tire at our transfer stations. We cut them in half. We dispose of them at our bulk rate at the landfill, which probably costs about 50 cents. If you were to take a whole tire to the landfill, it'll cost you between $5 and $9. So keeps costs low for residents and hopefully keeps tires out of the woods. So that's the program, and happy to share that with you.
Thank you. Thanks. Any other department heads? Boy, it is a busy one. Running to the podium. Bonnie Hopkins, welcome.
Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for having us. I want to always express our continued gratitude and your support for Cooperative Extension. I wanted to take a moment to introduce you to our new 4-H agriculture agent, Miss Cheyenne Radijets. Cheyenne is a native of San Juan County. She graduated from Bloomfield High School and recently graduated from New Mexico State University with her degree in extension education. Yes. She served an internship with our office a couple years ago, so she's very familiar with our program. We're delighted to have her home. That's always our goal, is to bring our young students back to our community and provide them with great jobs. Cheyenne will oversee our agriculture programs for youth, including activity camp, our livestock programs, very specifically horses. A lot of rodeo are definitely her passions. She will be my counterpart, working through agricultural issues within our community. And we are excited to have her on board. She started last week. I believe she will be in the office about 6 days over the next 3 months, traveling with our 4-H youth and going to programs. So definitely a very busy time of year to start as an extension agent, but we are excited to have her on board. So I wanted to introduce you all and let you know that she is available for programs or suggested programs that you may have. So Shannon, I'm not sure if you want to say anything.
Mr. Chair and County Commissioners, it is a pleasure to meet all of y'all. I am very happy to be back home here in San Juan County, and I am very excited to see where this summer takes us as I begin my new career. So it's a pleasure to meet all of you.
Welcome. Were you a 4-H'er when you were growing up?
Mr. Chairman, yes, I was. I did it all from 9 to 19, was a part of it at the collegiate level as well, and am now back as an agent.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And I'll stand for any questions if any of you have anything or suggested programs.
We'll have to get our list together.
Let's think about that.
Mr. Chair, I might just add while they're both here, there's a couple of questions I know you all had asked about the status of the new extension office project. It went out to bid this past weekend, and bids will close on July 9th. And we hope to provide you some successful bid results for consideration at the July 23rd meeting. So that project is moving along, and hopefully we'll be putting some shovels in the ground here pretty soon.
That's awesome.
It's exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beat it up.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of commission. Want to come before you and just provide you with an update of one of our programs that we're doing for the summer, and that's the summer internship program. Ashley Polte is one of our staff. She's our senior HR generalist and been with us almost a year now. And she's taken the lead in coordinating this program for us, and some program that we didn't think we were going to be able to do. We thought we were going to do it, and then just a lot of time crunching with it. But I'm going to have Ashley provide you some updates on the program and where we're at and all that good stuff for the program.
Welcome.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thanks for having me. So as Roberta said, I'm handling the summer internship program. It's a grant that we received from the state of New Mexico Education Department. Originally, this was funded federally during COVID to help small businesses and help students also get worksite experience. This year, the funding is coming exclusively from the state of New Mexico. And as Roberta said, we had some back and forth, if we were going to get any funding this year or not. When we finally got the answer to that, we landed on having a 6-week program this year. So that's beginning on June 17th. So on Monday, it's going to run through the end of July. We had 169 intern applicants this year. We had the funding to select 80 of those. And we had 22 adult coordinators apply for the position, and we selected 4. And then we have on your sheet there 56 work sites participating in the program this year. And I think that's about the gist of the update. I stand for any questions.
Are there any questions? How many work sites have participated in the past?
That's a great question. I think it's around the same amount. We had different work sites in previous years than what we do this year. We've added some new ones, and then we've had some drop off as well.
All right. Sounds like it's going to be a busy summer. Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Porter Smith, project manager, wanted to give you guys an update on two things. The first of which is the demolition of the San Juan generating station that P&M has out there on water flow. Demolition continues under the direction of integrated demolition and remediation. They had some problems with the unit 1 and 4 absorber area implosion that was scheduled for May 4th. So I don't know, I guess a little over a month ago. I have been told that they have remedied that situation. I believe they had some explosives that didn't act the way they expected them to. I don't think any danger or safety issues, but I think the area was shut down for a short while they tried to figure out what to do. Units 2 and 3 and 4 bag houses complete. Demolition is complete. Unit 3 and 4 auxiliary cooling tower demolition is 95% complete. North side wastewater is 97% complete. South side wastewater started in April. Scrap metal processing continues. And this update is for April. I don't have the one for May yet, but for April, they recycled 2,995 tons of ferrous metals. Project total is 14,000 tons so far. Non-ferrous metals, 1,265,100 pounds, 4,392,410 pounds total for non-ferrous metal recycling at the plant. Upcoming activities. They have, where'd it go? Approval of the closure plan for the south evaporation ponds was received in April, and the closure work should have already started. It says here would start in May. The phase 2 implosions for absorbers unit 1, 2, 3, and 4 have been suspended pending evaluations for alternative solutions. That's kind of what I spoke about. I think they are good on that now, and that work is probably already completed maybe, or in the process of being completed. They're moving forward. And then the item that I think I've received several questions on, everybody keeps asking about the SAC implosion, the big explosion that everybody's going to see. I got an update today that's been pushed back several times. It was originally supposed to be in May. The date now is August 17th at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's a Saturday. I did confirm with them they're going to set up an area for the public to be able to be at a safe distance, safe location to watch that happen. No idea how close it'll be or exactly where it will be yet, but they do intend to set something up for everybody to watch. The second item I wanted to update you about is the infrastructure capital improvement planning for years 2026 to 2030. We have public hearings scheduled for tomorrow evening and noon. Tomorrow evening we'll be here in the commission chambers, and noon on Thursday at the Lower Valley Senior Center. Infrastructure capital improvement planning is an important undertaking for San Juan County because it focuses on short and long-term planning for infrastructure improvement projects, and because it prioritizes these projects based on a community's need and project feasibility. ICIP encourages community interest, functions as a tool for community citizen involvement, fosters agreement to give direction to a community's future, promotes the repair or replacement of existing facilities before they fail, provides a framework for decisions about community growth and development, focuses on community agency attention on priority goals, needs, and capabilities, provides a guide to the public facilities and infrastructure element of a comprehensive plan, and provides an infrastructure plan that is flexible. As some of you know, some of you may not know, it's really just a list to really prioritize capital needs of our county, prioritize, and then it's sort of a wish list, if you will. It helps us go out and get funding. There's a lot of funding sources that don't really want to hear from us if we can't develop a good infrastructure capital improvement plan to present them with and show them the need and priority for some of these projects. Some things that were on the list that was approved last year: County Road 4990 improvements were funded. A replacement fire apparatus was funded. ADA improvements, we got more of those funded, and we're looking to fund some more for the future. Senior center facility improvements, both at Lower Valley and Blanco Senior Centers. We continue to receive funding for those to continue to make improvements for our seniors at those facilities. The North Kirtland Heights wastewater study was funded, and is, I think it's complete, actually, yeah. And bridge improvement at County Road 3500 Bridge number 8111. That construction has received funding. So those are some good items that have been on our list and received funding as a result of this process. That's all I have. Stand for any questions anybody has.
Does anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Very well, thank you. Any other department heads? All right, that brings us to comments, input from the general public. Comments are accepted in person, limited to 3 minutes, and to subjects the commission has not previously discussed, or formal action has not been taken. No formal action will be taken at this meeting that relates to comments or input from the general public. If you have a comment, I would just ask that you state your name for the clerk's office taking notes.
My name is Ben Hatch, here from Aztec. I like to just, hi, how you doing? I'd like to just state a comment. It's come to my attention on the trails that have been proposed, that they include equine. I am a avid horseman, and some of the worst wrecks I've ever seen is a mountain bike coming up on a horse. And I would be opposed to adding equine if there's going to be bikes on the trail, simply because I've seen people who are on a horse called bomb-proof. Oh, this horse is bomb-proof. But when you see a mountain bike, horse sees a mountain bike coming around a corner, it's big, it's fast, and it's quiet. And I have seen some good horses jump off of some very dangerous places. And I just think it would be not very advantageous to mix bikes with horses. I think that we would have more accidents than the county would want, and it would not be a good thing. So I just wanted to state that opinion that mixing the two together on this trail system would not be a good idea. I have just seen too many wrecks, even on people who are good horsemen, who know their horses. The horse is a flight animal, and something that fast and that big coming at him, that horse wants to move and move out quick. And I'm opposed to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ken Stradlin. First of all, I'd like to show my appreciation to Mr. Stark and Commissioner Lanier for being at the meet and greet at the fire station the other night. The public was very appreciative of that. I have two problems with the proposed trail system. The first one is on behalf of property owners. And especially with the proposed route through the old railroad cut. I know that involves a lot of property that is now private property. I know of several individuals where the old railroad cut goes right between, say, their barn and their house, right through their driveway. As far as my property is concerned, it's not actually on it. But it is through the old railroad cut is the access road for my neighbors just to the north of us. So I know there is a lot of opposition to the old railroad cut route. Also like to make the commission aware of the increase in crime associated with the Bird Park Trail in Farmington. I know a lot of property owners, for instance, my daughter lives on Samantha Lane at the end of that trail route, and she has noticed a lot of homeless traffic that comes to and fro down her street from that trail to Main Street. And there's even been some burglaries on her street from homeless people from that trail. I also, actually, I think I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Sarah Baird, and I'm also speaking out in opposition of the trail system. I come here today to ask you if you guys know what the definition of goodwill is. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, goodwill is a kindly feeling of approval or support, benevolent interest or concern. But I'm going to take it a step farther. Goodwill, when it pertains to rural communities such as ours, is a neighbor coming and bringing me milk when I run out and I can't go to the store because my toddler is sleeping. Goodwill is a neighbor calling for help because they need help running an errant steer back in their field. Goodwill is helping neighbors brand cattle. Goodwill is rural communities supporting each other. Goodwill is not forcing private property owners to open our land up for trespassing potential crime by allowing this trail system to go through. You guys have two perfectly viable options with the Southside Highway and the new highway. Why don't you use those instead? I certainly don't want my property being at risk. Goodwill is also not having the county ignore our sheriff when he said that they do not have enough officers to patrol this trail in rural areas next to homes. I know that when we had this meeting last year, and again at the public session, when the property owners brought up a statistic for Bird Park, almost 2,600 calls at Bird Park alone for incidents. Could you imagine what that could be if we have a trail in our property? So again, I ask you, what is the definition of goodwill?
Any other comments or input from the general public?
My name is Radine Colson, and I want to thank you guys for letting us speak. And I'm coming in a little bit ignorant, but is one of the options the old Aztec Farmington Highway for the trail?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, there are four options that were proposed at the input meeting. So one was the old railroad right-of-way. One was Southside River Road. One was the old Aztec Highway, and then Highway 516.
Okay, well, I live on the old Aztec Highway.
Okay.
And I'm just north of the river where the railroad went through. And our road is so narrow. We have speeders going through there at 60, 70 miles an hour where we live just below the fire station. I don't see how that's a safe, viable option for that to happen. I don't know what the plan is to make that safe. I don't know how you have room for sidewalks or a trail, especially where we're at. It's very narrow. But my concern is the speeds of the traffic through that area. I don't think it's safe.
Thank you.
Commissioner, I'm Casey Blansett, also in opposition for the walkway. We live on 3,000. The railroad track does run directly through our property, not along the river, right in the middle of us. And we have livestock there. We have thousands of no trespassing signs, thousands of cameras everywhere. We continually have people walking through, driving through, and ignoring the signs as it is. So my concern is I've put bulls in 4 times this week, not because I want to, but because they go where they want. They're 2,500 pounds. So my concern would be what is going to happen when somebody goes through and lets one of those bulls out or gets ran over by one, because it is a fence out state. So that would be a super concern of ours. Also being that it goes right through the middle of our property, not along the river. Thank you.
Any other comments from or input from the general public? Not seeing any, we'll close that. I see we have a closed session, so I'll stand for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we go into closed executive session to discuss the following items pursuant to section 10-15-1, H2, 7, and 8. 1, to discuss the purchase and acquisition or disposal of real property rights. 2, to discuss threat or pending litigation concerning the Energy Transition Act. And 3, to discuss limited personnel matters, the performance evaluation of the county manager.
I'll second.
Having been moved and seconded, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. We'll be in closed session.